is another one of my absolute favorites. Like, I think we're gonna go through its, this is and like a bunch of other stuff, but like the first two here are some of my absolute favorites this year. I haven't written my review yet, so and I only watched it like a day and a half ago, so I haven't really fully thought it out. The idea that's on play so obvious in much of the movie.
Yeah, the characters in the whole movie.
It basically takes place in two spots. Yeah.
The dialogue is so responsive, natural, like, whoa, what's on here? And then that clicks.
Well, it's almost
so it's from a play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The dialogue is almost unnatural because it's so from so long ago. They're using phrases.
No, that's unrelatable.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
it definitely feels natural. Like, it feels organic to me. Like the way that like there's all these complicated relationships and they just sort of come in and out of each other's lives.
It's not like Arrival where like they say something, then you look at their face, and then the other person has a response to that question. This is like it's just like a natural conversation that could just could just listen upon. Like you could be in the backyard in another house listening out the window, and it's just like that's a natural way of speaking back and forth. Mm-hmm. It's just like so intuitive too. It almost feels like they're ad-libbing almost. That's what I mean by natural.
Yeah, it feels like it. And that's something I guess I didn't really think about when I watched it, but now that you mentioned like something I really like about it, and that's something that I complained about Rogue One. Again, connecting weird dots here, but that it was so many static, like cut to this person say something, cut to this person say something. This feels so much more natural,
and that's the beauty of
everyone's
theater,
sitting
basically.
around. It's like exactly. It's like you're watching a play. They're all just you're watching through a window of somebody else's life,
right? And that's the like. There's a very something like I said, based on a play, right? But the shots in this movie, it's like they will one long take of conversation, and the camera might pan left and right a little bit.
Yeah, it might cut too, but it's very good in hiding that fact too.
But it feels like one. It feels like one long cut, and a lot of times there will be that too. It'll just be like they're in their backyard and they're building a fence, and then they go sit down, and then that's like
that could have been a cut.
That could have been a cut, but they just kept going.
But you can't tell. Right? Yeah, it's so good in hiding that fact.
And I don't know. Denzel Washington is great in this movie because he completely disappears into that role.
It's just perfect for him. He gets to just go wherever he wants, basically, for as long as he wants, and he has all that dialogue in there. Mm-hmm. He just plays with it as it comes out, and he's so emotive and he's so unpredictable. It's just a joy to watch. Mm-hmm. It's like, how can you not like root for this guy almost? And that's why when you transition to the later half of the movie, it's like, hey, I didn't really realize we're going there. But it's kind of a cool thing because it's a shock to the other characters involved too. Yeah, that subject matter of cheating and having well,
it's such a
it's like teased kind of just slightly.
Well, with the conversation with his friend,
right? And you're like, this makes no sense to me. Yeah,
because if that scene wasn't there, him just going straight to what's her name? What's the character's name?
Rose.
Rose. Yes. It would feel.
It's all one syllable names.
It wouldn't feel good. It wouldn't feel right. It'd be like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But that's what happens in like a theater play though sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Something comes out of nowhere. They have a crazy dialogue scene.
Just enough foreshadowing to make it feel like it was earned.
Just a little hit.
Just a little bit. But because the performances hit so hard and they explain their side of the story and then they counter it with roses, it's like
it's such
you really get to see everyone's side of it.
It's in peacetime, right? So they talk about like joining the army and all that stuff. But like there's this. Usually when you think of people joining the army, or all the people like the mom's always super worried about them going off to war and all that kind of stuff. But that's not what they're talking about in this movie. It just kind of in the background about it.
Well, they talk about so much stuff. Like at one point, I thought this movie was going to be about baseball. Mm-hmm. Like think about it. Like you don't, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man, they brings up baseball a lot.
Because that was such a huge part of his life. Yeah.
Then he's in sports, and he's like, well, does want him to be in sports, and then we just shift to this whole like family dynamic.
Man, I mean. It's a movie about Denzel Washington's character, right?
You think he has it all figured out?
Well, he plays it like he has it all figured out,
and we believe it. and We root for him almost because he's such a charismatic character in the beginning.
He almost becomes the villain of his own story.
Oh yeah,
by about halfway through the movie,
and then there's that perfect line when they talk about the fences and like you building this to keep people out or keep people in.
That got me. I had to pause the movie.
I don't know. I thought that was a little. Building a fence.
That's the whole
but you had no idea what that was about because at the time you had no idea about like the severity of the story and what was going to happen.
By the way, did they ever finish the fence?
Yeah.
It's just that one. It's just the one.
We didn't see him do it, but
it's done at the end.
Oh, okay.
But I think there is a couple sections where it's still chain link.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, because they just walk down that back lane.
But like on the nose, that's the thing though. That's on the nose would be filming these fences all the time.
Well, I get that too, but
like they did it. I was happy they did
that exact dialogue about building the fence to keep. I thought that was a bit nose, but other than that, I thought the rest was fine.
That is true. But at that time when that dialogue is said, we don't know how that
right, because we don't, because you're right, because in retrospect we understand it, but we actually get the information the next scene about why he's talking about that.
Yeah. At the time, it's like he's keeping people out almost. He's protecting what he has. All that stuff. But it actually changes.
I mean, Denzel Washington. What's his name? In the movie,
it says the T. I think Troy.
Is a damaged person.
Yeah.
Right. Who is basically lives in fear all the time of letting his family down, of his children having to go through the same things he went through, of fear of being broke, of fear of not fulfilling his dream, of not fulfilling had filled his dream of playing baseball. He imposes that on his family through the entire movie.
Yeah, I mean, he channels it through anger primarily.
Yeah. It's a generational thing though, right? Like our father's father is basically that type of it's slowly. It just disappears, that type of mentality.
Well, because you can see in his son, he's like, I don't want to be what you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's relatable for every family member, every father, even daughter, whatever, all that stuff, right? You can find relatability in all that stuff there.
Well, and then obviously there's other stuff going on because of the setting. There's still racism and all that stuff. I mean, there's still racism now, but there's it's a whole different.
It's a different degree.
It's a whole different degree, right? And how they're living their lives, and the idea of Rose having devoted her life to
that's
that
the
family.
one thing they tread very carefully though. Like he used a lot of words like woman and like you're going to do this and do that, but their relationship was so loving and like so equal at the end of the day.
Well,
they just used that dialogue, that type of speech on top of it, but it was like a relationship like today.
But you also understand what that family, what the husband-wife dynamic was at that time.
Yeah, it's totally different because she wasn't working, right? It's just him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They weren't exactly like equals or whatever. But like at when she gets to that point where she kind of blows up.
Oh yeah.
Like that's when everything shifts. That one of the
we haven't got to there yet, but I think she's got to win for
because at that point in time we're just so used to listening to Denzel, right?
Yeah,
and like him making sense of everything and all his analogies, and he knows this.
It's like he's so charismatic that you are on his side or whatever. And she's sort of like she's just in the background, just dutiful wife.
And the one thing that happens with everybody, if you don't fill a certain role somewhere else, like we don't fill everybody's shoes.
Yeah,
we don't. We can't fill our mom's shoes or even our dad's shoes yet, right? And she was able to explain that role and like how she felt in it and what she did. That when Troy's listening to it, we're listening to it like we're not the only side to this. There's two people doing it.
Like that scene is probably the best scene in the movie, right? He's basically saying, I feel trapped in this family. I feel like I go to work every day to provide for the family and sacrifice my happiness.
Which is something we always hear from that generation type of father.
But then you're like, okay, yeah, I can kind of get that. But then he starts saying like,
and then she kills her now.
And you're like, no, it's like, well, you think I don't have any fucking idea?
I'm here every day too.
Yeah, and it's like you still feel gross about listening to him explain away how he still needs it, how he's not going to give up his side, basically.
Yeah, and those are the points that like that kind of don't make sense with what we're watching in the beginning. So that's why for me it was such a drastic change to where we're going in that story, but it was still so well played out because they explained it through the dialogue, through their acting, through their emotions, like so perfectly.
It's just the perfect glimpse into a complex family dynamic. Whether it's being set in the 20s or not, there's so many things. You have this adult son, one of them. Then you have from a different woman, right? And then you have
it was 34, which is crazy, actually.
Different time, right? And then you have his veteran brother who is can't be dependent, disabled in some way, and then this younger son who he's trying to almost protect from the world, and then how all that plays into itself.
Yeah. Well, because in the beginning you see some of those lessons that he's saying, they make sense, and it's like it almost relates to our fathers, what they tell us when we were young, and it's like if we had listened to those kind of those advice, it would help us. Yeah, but then it changes to where it's like it's overbearing.
Too much. Yeah,
it's too much. Yeah.
He basically tries to teach through fear, right? He at one point that whole baseball metaphor thing is like, he's like, don't strike out, that's strike one or whatever, and that's pretty.
Which lasted until the end of the movie. The whole thing was everywhere.
It's pretty. I mean, the baseball metaphors are like chalk. They're like they come a mile a minute
because that's his life, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a good movie. I'm gonna have a really hard time. I haven't really put a lot of thought into what I'm gonna pick for what I think should win Best Picture, regardless of what I think is actually going to win Best Picture. Basically, what our dark horse is. But it's like Fences has got to be in the top 3 for sure.
Yeah, you kind of just gotta think like how these movies hit on multiple levels, and like which one does that best categories or more. You know what I mean? And then you kind of, for me, that's when I pick that movie deserves the award for best movie.
Yeah.